Nothing.
No, he's only kidding. We have a great show tonight on Sneak Peek.
Entertainment
the way you want it. Hi, and welcome to Sneak Peek. I'm your host, Christine Ramon.
And I'm Daniel Stoll. Tonight on Sneak Peek, we have the best show you're watching right now.
I'm James Stevens, and I'm here
We've got an interview with a new up-and-coming band, a sneak peek of Jerry Seinfeld's new movie, and the latest Hollywood gossip.
Yeah, let's get on with the show. Starting us off is Melanie with tonight's Guilty Pleasure.
My guilty pleasure is 1974 film Blazing Saddles. Yeah, it's over 30 years old, and yeah, a good portion of the student body have no idea what movie I'm even talking about. But if you do, you just might agree that it is hands down one of the most hilarious movies ever. Or you just find it very disgusting and immature. Mel Brooks is a comic genius in this film that makes me laugh so hard I cry. The plot is simple and makes fun of the traditional Western. A corrupt politician appoints the first African-American sheriff the town has seen. The new sheriff later becomes the politician's adversary and everything goes awry. Yeah, it's embarrassing to uphold my status as a classy lady when I express my love for a movie that is often referred to as prejudiced and offensive. When you're in the right mood, a campfire scene in which men eat canned beans and repeatedly fart can't be hilarious. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. The ethnic stereotypes addressed in this film have me laughing so hard that my abs get such a workout, I don't go to the gym for weeks. Well, actually haven't gone to the gym in weeks anyway, but that's beside the point. The best part is you have the annoying I'm So Tired song sung by that flashy dancer stuck in your head for at least 3 days. If you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, you must. You'll love it or you'll hate it. Just remember, I appreciate it. Oh, and one last thing. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges. Back to y'all.
Westerns. I never got some of that stuff with the helpless woman and John Wayne riding around all angry all the time.
Well, Pilgrim, we better get a move on.
Okay, John Wayne, let's mosey on over to James with tonight's indie band.
Dave, Austin's finest.
Thanks.
All right, Jade, you have the new album out. What's it called?
It's called Awakening.
Awakening. I've heard some of it. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So, what artist strongly influenced you?
Me? Well, it just depends on the, I guess, what age I was. When I was younger, I was a huge fan of band live. It seems like I find one group or one artist and just really obsess over them for a while. And after that, it was Jeff Buckley absorbed like the next 3 or 4 years. And I was so impacted by his music that I got to a point where I had to stop listening to it because I liked it so much. I wanted to. I couldn't imagine doing
Stealing the sound.
Right. I couldn't imagine doing something more interesting than what he was doing. So I had to actually make a point to put it away. And I'm glad I did it to kind of move forward and I'll hopefully find my own voice.
So, how would you describe your music?
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot of times. what the pitch is, but and it's changed. It kind of vacillates between two things, and that is, I guess, soulful folk and alternative rock. And sometimes it leans one way more than the other. Right now we're leaning more towards the soulful folk.
So, which album do you prefer? Awakening or Chimera?
Well, you've always got to plug the most recent, which is Awakening, which is at Waterloo. It's actually at the listing station. One of the listing stations at Waterloo until the end of the week if you want to just go give it a listen before thinking about purchasing it. But definitely Awakening. I love acoustic performance, acoustic guitar. This album is mainly acoustic instruments, guitars, upright bass, xylophone. One song features a string section. So I just love acoustic music. I love natural resonance. It's all recorded in just an old wooden room in an older house, and a lot of natural reverberation. Besides, I'm really happy with the songs and the structure of the album, but just the tonal quality of the album, I'm really happy with it. I think if they're purists like I am.
Awakening. It's awesome. So you have some upcoming shows?
I do have some upcoming shows. I've got a show this Saturday at Flipnotics.
Saturday at Flipnotics?
Saturday at Flipnotics.
Be there.
9 p.m.
And after that?
After that, I have a couple things. Another solo show at Clementine on November 3rd. And then November 11th, a show I really want to plug is going to be a full band show. It's at Club 115 downtown. Full band, also going to be accompanied, joined by David Newbold. I don't know if you know him. He's a really great singer-songwriter here in town. And I think Dave Madden is also playing, who's great. And a guy from out of town, I can't remember his name. He used to be in the band West of Monroe, touring here. So November 11th, Club 115. That's the one I'm really going to be promoting for the next few weeks.
Awesome. Everyone should go out there. It was great having you, JD.
Oh, thanks so much, James.
Thanks having you. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Indie music is weird. Enough said. Let's move on to the next segment.
You can't just end like that.
I just did.
B-Movie is a comedy that will change everything you think you know about bees. The movie's about Barry B. Benson, who is played by Jerry Seinfeld, who finds himself disillusioned after graduating from college with the prospect of having only one career choice, honey. As he ventures outside of the hive for the first time, he breaks one of the cardinal rules of Bee World and talks to a human, a New York City florist named Vanessa, voiced by Renee Zellweger. He is shocked to discover that humans have been stealing and eating the bees' honeys for centuries. He then realizes that his true calling in life is to set the world right by suing the human race for stealing their precious honey. Adam Flayman, voiced by Matthew Broderick, is Barry's best friend and a company man. He finds nothing wrong with the party line and doing what bees have always done, make honey. After all, 27 million years of history can't be wrong. Matthew Broderick was born in New York City. His first big hit film was War Games, a summer hit in 1983. Broderick took his famous role as the adult lion Simba in The Lion King during 1990. He distinguished himself in The Cable Guy, about a bachelor who becomes friends with an insane and lonely cable repairman played by Jim Carrey. The second was his role of a high school teacher in Election who is eager and determined to stop an overachieving student from becoming class president. One of his more known roles was in Inspector Gadget in 1999. Now, I don't know about you, but a movie about the lives of bees seems pretty interesting to me, especially when they include the voices of very familiar actors we have come to love. This movie, filled with comedy, comes out on November 2nd.
No. Christine's first line. There you go.
I really miss Seinfeld, but I really can't picture Jerry as a bee.
I can't really picture him as anything because his show is about nothing, unlike Sneak Peek, which is the best show about everything important.
Yeah, so let's keep this show going and move on to some trivia with Jason.
Hey guys, it's trivia time. Tonight's first quote is from a 2003 movie. And the quote is, "Good night, prudes. Go have your G-rated dreams. Prude-filled dreams. Prude dreams." If you have no idea what movie that's from, you'll find out after the break. And we're back. The quote was, "Good night, prudes. Go have your G-rated dreams. Prude-filled dreams. Prude dreams." David Spade said that, and Dickie Roberts, former child star. Back to you guys.
You always worry about those child stars.
Yeah, like Andy Milonakis.
You know he's 31, right?
My point exactly.
Sure. Well, let's keep this show on the road.
Speaking of road, Enrique has an interview with Terry George, the director of Reservation Road, and Alla.
With Reservation Road in particular, why did you choose this story to pursue?
I like the sort of Greek tragic drama, and also the subtext of revenge and creating a monster in your head and demonizing the enemy. All those things really appeal to me.
Do you find that appealing to talk about the darker side with triumph over it?
Well, every story is different, you know. With this,
I didn't like
it was
practicing
obviously a
mine.
challenge in that the subject matter seems very dour. For me, I got to start and figure out how do you make this entertaining? What's the possibilities that would attract an audience to it? And it's the strength of the acting and the subtext of the story and the emotional journey that the audience goes through. So I try to figure it, zone in on those things, and hopefully then I rely heavily on word of mouth for films. It's not like you can market these movies, Hotel Rwanda, and all this very easily.
With this film, it's very dark. There are a lot of scenes with kids. Did you make sure to keep the set light but maintain the darkness?
Well, these two kids in particular, Elle Fanning and Eddie Alderson, are very experienced, and they're real kids. They're not the products of some ambitious mother or something like that. And so they're very funny, and I think the nature of kids on the set is they kind of create that sense of play and listen, joking and laughing as the day goes on.
What do you hope people will take from the film?
Well, the basic message is that the human spirit can triumph over any catastrophe or disaster that befalls them if they find the inner strength. It's about the strength of the human spirit, and that there is redemption in anything, even the most dark circumstances.
Thanks, Enrique and Ayla. Hey, have you heard of Rilo Kiley?
Yeah, they actually played here in Austin, and they had a great opening band called Grand Ole Party. And Ben actually has an interview, so let's go see how it went.
On October 7th, I was privileged to attend Rilo Kiley's performance at Stubbs' Backyard. The show was amazing, complete with every one of the band's hits. Even the second band, The Bird and the Bee, is definitely worth a second viewing. But the highlight of my evening was putting my sneak peek credentials to the test and sitting down for an impromptu interview with the opening band, Grand Ole Party. Having made the trip from their home in San Diego, California, one would assume such a tender-footed group as Grand Ole Party, getting their feet wet on tour with Rilo Kiley, would be intimidated by such a landmark venue. Surprisingly, their performance was fearless. With only some drums, a bass, unearthly vocals, and an effervescently face-melting guitar, Grand Ole Party delivered one of the best opening acts I've seen since moving to Austin. They look like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, feel like Susie and the Banshees, and sound like the love child of Janis Joplin and Hart's Wilson sisters. As good as they are, Grand Ole Party thankfully don't know it yet, and the humility is very, very flattering. Talking to band members Kristen Michael and John Paul backstage, I learned that they have been together for about 2 years now, after meeting at UC Santa Cruz 5 years ago. Aside from recording their debut album, Humanimals, produced by Rilo Kiley guitarist Blake Sinnott, and set for in-store release this coming January, the band has been on tour and just enjoying life. Although they've been working hard doing a full-time job and full-time music, there is something to, Michael explains, making your life your own and crafting it on the way. Well, hell, I'm interviewing rock bands so a la Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous that he might as well be preaching to the choir. But beyond impressing me with their thoughts on life and winning me over with their views on the sad state of the American education system, don't even get me started, Grand Ole Party were just three incredibly friendly, ordinary people who just so happen to be three brazenly talented musicians. Humanimals, now available on iTunes and coming to stores from DH Records January 08. Grand Ole Party, believe me, they're worth your time. Back to you.
Wanted to be a rock star.
I always want to be an astronaut.
Where did that come from?
You'll see after the trivia.
All right, our next quote is from a movie made in 2005 that was originally a book. In the beginning, the universe was created. It's made a lot of people angry and has been widely regarded as a bad idea. Do you know it? Come back after the break and see. And we're back. Again, the quote was, in the beginning, the universe was created. It's made a lot of people angry and has been widely regarded as a bad idea. That was, of course, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, that's it from me tonight. Back to you guys.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to be an astronaut, after you saw Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
No. Ever since I saw Neil Armstrong land on the moon, I wanted to be one.
Oh, whatever. You weren't even alive then.
Okay, I admit I wanted to be one because of Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, that's more like it. Greg actually went to a documentary about Pixar, so let's see how that went.
All right, I'm here with Leslie Ewerks, who is the documentary filmmaker of the Pixar story. You said before the screening that you got like access to all of their archives and everything like that. Can you talk a little bit about your time in the Pixar archives?
It was hard because there was so much stuff. There was so much amazing material, and I just started. And at that point, you're looking at this huge amount of clay, and you don't really know how you're going to shape it. And so you're just kind of picking what touches you. And because John just said, make the film you want to make, then I could pick the kind of art that I thought would work. And there was so much material that was cut out, that couldn't make it.
You said you interviewed over 70 people, and you had to cut out so many of those. How did you decide who made the cut and who didn't?
Well, a lot of it was over a period of many years, over a period of 6 years, on and off, I was making this film. And we would just kind of show it to people and see what worked and what didn't work. And as the history changed and whatnot, we just kind of figured there were certain people that were very hard to cut out, like Miyazaki or certain Frank and Ollie sound bites and whatnot. But you just do what you have to do as a filmmaker to get that narrative flow going in the right direction. It was just amazing work. I mean, just so many different styles and so many different artists, and just the sheer brilliance of those artists there. It was really a treat to be able to go through all that.
Thank you so much, and I sincerely did enjoy the films.
So, who owns Pixar now?
I don't know. Last time I heard it could have been Gary Coleman owned it or whatever.
What is with you and child stars?
It doesn't matter. Let's go to James with E-News.
Hello, in the realm of entertainment news. The strike in Hollywood. The looming film actors and writers strike, originally set for next summer, could begin any time now. Actors and writers are upset with studio executives rushed to make enough films to keep the film industry alive, while the artists are drinking coffee on strike. They need money for digital reproduction. Their fear of studio interference could lead to an early strike, maybe even tomorrow. Already looking past this strike, Fox has set May 1st, 2009 as a release date for X-Men Origins: Wolverine. That's right, folks. My favorite X-Men is getting the recognition he deserves. His own title. This film is going to chronicle Wolverine's violent past, the creation in the Weapon X program, and other mutants. Yeah! Sadly, I will not get to replace Hugh Jackman. On a bluesier note, Jeffrey Wright has joined Matt Dillon in Sony BMG's Cadillac Man, following the rise and fall of Chess Records. Who's got the blues? The usually awesome Nicolas Cage will star in The Vanished, a focus feature film directed by Hani Abu Assad. This thriller marks his first studio directing outing. Production will begin in April. The film follows Nicolas Cage as he searches for his American-born Muslim son who is missing overseas. Hellboy fans rejoice! Guillermo del Toro is set to start shooting Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, outside of Budapest, Hungary. More to come. On a more serious note, Miley Cyrus, aka Hannah Montana, will be coming to an IMAX near you in February 2008, the 3D version of her Best of Both Worlds tour. The multi-platinum TV star pop princess will be in your face! Sort of. For those few people in the world who watch Lost, Fisher Stevens and the beautiful Andrea Roth, formerly of Rescue Me, will have recurring roles on that paradise of an island. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, has been given a set time slot. Fox announced a Power Hour, debuting the new Terminator series, along with reruns of our favorite man, Jack Bauer, saving the day in 24. Seth Green, the man behind Robot Chicken, and Seth of Family Guy, will guest star on an upcoming Grey's Anatomy. He hopes his illness on the show will earn him the nickname of McSickly. And in oh thank God news, George Lucas has announced that he will merely produce his highly anticipated live-action Star Wars television show. And not, I repeat, not write or direct any of the planned 13 episodes. You hear that? That's the sound of Ewoks rejoicing.
That's a lot of news to take in for one day.
I couldn't get past them not giving James the Wolverine spot.
Oh, it's okay, Daniel.
Well, let's move on to a preview of Dan in Real Life, starring Steve Carell.
Steve Carell is a leading man in a romantic comedy once again with Dan in Real Life. Carell plays writer of a popular advice column, Dan Burns, and he is a widower and father of 3 teenage girls who want driving lessons, boyfriends, and attention. The film takes place in a beautiful Rhode Island woodland cabin during the kind of talent show, football, arts and craft family reunion weekend that only happens in the movies. There he meets Juliette Binoche as Marie, a woman he flirts with in a local bookstore who looks like she could finally end Dan's years of loneliness. If only she wasn't dating Dan's brother Mitch, played by Dane Cook, who surprisingly doesn't ruin the film. If you don't find yourself a bit in love with Binoche by the end of the film, you don't have a soul. Whereas Steve Carell mixes his dramatic and comedic acting chops while playing a man who's on the edge of ruining his life unless he finds someone to love him. John Mahoney of Frasier fame and the fantastic Diane Wiest play the loving heads of the Burns household, who are direct when it comes to chiding their children. Speaking of the family, Dan's other siblings and in-laws are jerks who aren't given enough screen time for the audience to understand why they're so unsympathetic towards Dan in his moments of folly. Allison Pill, Brittany Robertson, and Marlene Lawson are Dan's children, and he cares about them immensely but can't accept the fact that they're growing up. Pill and Lawson are fine and believable as Dan's kids, but Brittany Robertson's lovesick performance is over the top. And phrases like, "You're a murderer of love," sound too melodramatic for even the craziest teenage girl. Now, for those familiar with romantic comedies where someone's true love is with another, the movie ends predictably, but after 80 minutes of getting to know the 2 possible lovers, the audience wouldn't want it to end any other way. Peter Hedges, the writer of About a Boy and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, writes and directs this film, and he made a perfect decision when he hired Lawrence Sher to be the DP. Lawrence was formerly the cinematographer for Garden State, and in Dan in Real Life, Rhode Island looks wonderful, and every shot of the film looks like it could be on a postcard. Sondre Lerche, the original soundtrack for the film, is amazing, and it makes it all the more depressing when the now cliched "Let My Love Open the Door" is performed by Carell and Cook. Overall, in the words of Marie, the movie is not necessarily big ha-ha-ha, laugh out loud at others funny, but people funny. If you're a big Steve Carell fan or want a date movie that's better than most, you'll enjoy Dan in Real Life. Back to you.
You know, me and Steve Carell, we share the same name in that movie.
Very good, Daniel. But I actually think I'm going to go check out that movie. I'm a huge Steve Carell fan, and especially after The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, Kelly Clarkson!
Broken tells the story of a young girl from the Midwest who goes out to LA to seek fame and fortune. She's an aspiring singer-songwriter. That's the literal story. What happens to her is that she doesn't find that fame and fortune, and she kind of spirals down, becomes addicted to drugs, and really has a seminal moment in her life where either she's going to get through this or it's all over. Okay. That's its literal story. I think for me, making personal films is really important. You know, if that's the mountain I've got to climb, I want to make sure I enjoy the view when I'm up there, and to have that meaning it's an important journey for me, and the kind of films I like too. I love to be challenged. I prefer films that do challenge an audience and ask an audience to become involved. And so I guess I'm drawn to those stories that do just that. So Broken is screening at the Dobie from tonight for the next week, and it will be screening at 4:30, 7 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, 9:30. So that's where it is.
Right on.
Tonight's show has pretty much left me exhausted.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Sneak Peek. Join us next week for our special Halloween show.
All right.